That's right. I love that. Yes, for
Yes,
sure.
yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Stefania, Stefania. Over here laughing at me. Stefania.
I'm gonna, I'm gonna keep it until you get it right.
Try again.
You almost had it. Almost had it.
All right, the first time you see, this is why I do like the meetings because there was this one interview I did and I butchered her oh my god I butchered her license. She was like a licensed family marriage therapist, and I kept oh my god and on like on recording too, and I was like and I kept asking her what was
Please
it
don't
again?
cut. No, please don't cut this out. Like that was so funny. You were trying to say my name was the best thing ever. I will keep you here until you get it.
Oh my goodness. And then Estefania Saavedra.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show and making
Thank
yourself
you.
available, doing this with us.
Yes,
So I
thank
have
you.
like some icebreakers
Okay.
for us.
Cool, cool, cool.
So what is, let's see, are you would you say you're more of an extrovert or an introvert?
So I just recently learned a word and it's called ambivert. And
Me
I
too. I guess I
yeah,
was
I relate my I know, there's only few words coming up and
right?
so it's yeah, it's a mix of both. Because I do
Okay.
feel like I am an extrovert. It's very easy for me to talk to people, but at the same time, I can be very, very shy when there is a big crowd of people or if I'm in a party. I actually tend to reserve myself and be quieter in those moments. I do better when it's like one on one or just a couple of people, but when it's like more people, that's when I'm like, I'm a little shy. So more like an ambivert.
Yes.
That's what it's called.
I'm adopting that now. Like I think the same thing. I the
Yeah.
same thing. I'm if it's like me and my best friend and maybe like one other person, I'm like all me, all myself. But if it's like a party, I'm like reserves. I'm sitting on the couch. I'm getting my laptop out, working on
Yeah, like I'm on my phone. I'm like,
it.
speaking to myself.
Right?
Yeah,
That is so true. That is so true. Okay, so we connect on that because that's definitely the
yes.
same as me.
Yeah.
Listen, what kind of how do you spend? What's the favorite thing for you to do on your day off? Like how do you spend your day off?
Oh man, there's so many different things. I love to go on a really good walk in the park. There's a couple of parks close to my house, and especially around this time, the weather it feels better. So that's what I feel like doing now. But if it was summertime, I'm pretty sure I was like, I'm gonna pass on the walking, and I'll probably gonna stay home. Just hang out with my family. Sometimes my husband and I have a day off that we come together, we hang out. Even if it's being at home, we'll clean, we'll cook, spend some time with my doggies, but just pretty much chilling. And then, yeah, when it's cool outside, I do like to be like out and about
Yeah,
and doing different.
when it's
Yeah,
cool. Same here.
it's
Same
cool.
here.
Yeah.
Honestly, the fall time is like the best time to go. I'm like, let's go biking. Let's go in the summer. We can ride around.
Yeah, exactly. With some
Exactly.
feet.
With some AC. Exactly. With some. Do you guys have Bahama Bucks where you're at?
Bahama bucks. That sounds so familiar, but I don't know.
It's like shaved ice
Oh
with like it's like a snow
no,
cone basically.
South Florida they have it. In South
Oh, in
Florida.
South Florida.
Yes, I now that you say that, I did go to a place. Actually, I'm originally from South Florida. Like I was raised there, and I went to go visit some of my friends, and they had that and it's very tropical, very like
Yeah.
yeah, very Caribbean, and it was really really yummy. Yeah, so not
Yeah.
close to me, sadly, but they're
Oh,
good. Yeah.
yeah. I work like South Texas, and they don't have it there. But in San Antonio, where I'm at now, they have them.
Uh-huh.
And so every time I come here, because it's year round, which is you don't always find that, snow cone places being year round. Usually they only like for the
Yeah,
summer, and so I always get that. For if we're riding around the car during the summertime, it's a snow cone in the
yeah,
car
I just
somewhere.
go and stop by. I lived in Texas for a little bit, and I miss it. I love Texas. Yeah, I lived in
What
Houston for 10
part?
years. Houston?
Okay,
Yeah,
nice,
yeah.
nice,
So
nice.
I lived there, and actually I have a like family there. My parents are still in Houston, and I love San Antonio too. I actually know a few creators there too, and I remember when I lived there, they used to have the food trucks where they had the shaved ice too. Yeah, and
Yes,
especially when it was
yes,
really really hot. Oh my God, we throw down.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I love it. So you know where the valley is? Like they call it the valley
The
in
Valley
South Texas,
in San
or
Antonio?
Padre. No, like where
South
Padre
Padre,
Island
yes.
is.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
where I work.
Yeah.
They don't have Bahama bugs there.
Oh, yeah. That's
That's
so
so
weird.
weird.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Man, they gotta bring
So that's so cool. I grew up 2 hours from Houston, so that's just so cool. Like small world, kind of. Like where Lake
Yeah,
Charles is, Louisiana.
Lake Charles, yes. Yes.
Yeah, they have a lot of casinos. Everyone knows them for their casinos.
Well, see, I also lived for 6 months in Shreveport. So
Okay.
yeah, we would travel all around there. And then when we were moving back and forth, we would always pass through Lake Charles and stuff. So
Yeah.
a little bit of familiar,
Right.
around
Just like a
there.
little
Yeah, a
glimpse.
little bit.
Oh, that is so
Cool.
cool. I love like the connectability that's happening right now. Like that's so cool.
Yeah, that's
Um,
awesome. That's
yes. Okay, so the last icebreaker is. Oh, are you binge watching any TV shows, or if not, like what was the last show you binge watched, or
so
just
yeah, I
watched in
am.
general?
I just started right now. Dubai Bling.
Dubai Bling. I've never heard of it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Where's that? Was it on?
It's on Netflix. So I actually watched the first season and there are some drama. Man, you would think like these people are like, okay, I'm so rich. Like I mind my own business. I do what I want. But no, I mean, there's drama. But it's just, okay, again, it's kind of like watching the Kardashians, right? It's kind of like a guilty pleasure. And it's, there's some drama going on. It's fun. I mean, I like it. But I just also love seeing like how they dress and how beautiful they are, and they're just like okay, let's go grab some coffee, and they got like their little red bottoms, their hair's all done, and they got all, it's like literally like California but like extra, and with
Extra.
their like expensive cars and their houses, and it's, I don't know, it's crazy. It's just like a whole different world. The one before watching that was Selling Sunset. That's another one that is oh my god, it's so much trauma, but I love watching it.
Yes. I growing up, my sister, and my mom used to watch Love and Hip Hop and Basketball Wives, and I was like, that's trash. Like, why do you watch that? Like it's fake. They don't really do that. The producers probably like, now throw the water, now go, and then they throw the water like like it's probably all staged.
It is
And
California.
now now I'm watching Selling Sunset. I watched like maybe 2 3 episodes, but I don't have Netflix. I'm trying to like use someone else's account,
Like, yeah,
but.
that's what they're trying to play with us now. Like everybody has to have their own. I'm like, come on, man, let's just go back to the way it was.
Right? Let's just, use everyone else's and just pay one time. But
Yeah,
but the Kardashians is my thing.
yeah, that's
Kind
that's
of like,
my other one too. Like once they moved to
uh,
Hulu, I don't know, it was something like, oh dang, I gotta watch it now. Like I mean, I've always
right.
watched it before, but once they
Mhm.
had started their new season, it was like, oh man, yeah, I like watching it too.
Yes, yes. And the second thing is that I stayed in Kuwait. Do you know where Kuwait is? It's like right north of Dubai.
Uh-huh, yes.
I was in Kuwait for a year,
Oh,
and so everything you're saying they do on the like that literally happens. And so going to the mall. where when I was in Kuwait was like a whole big thing. Like in America, you just go to the mall looking any kind of way, but there you went to the mall looking like you look done up. Like, but I guess they look done up every day. Like they're always in glam every day. Like when when they're going out, but in America, we just kind of go out looking any kind of way, but
I
not
mean,
there.
flip flops. I mean, I'm dolled up for an interview, but halfway down here, I got my shorts on and chanclas. So
Right, right. Like I love
yeah,
it's
it's
so
happened.
it's so crazy.
Yeah, no,
What were
I
you
will
saying?
walk out like this too. Yeah, no, nobody's gonna
Yeah.
stop me.
Right, right. I love it. Okay, so you are this big social media influencer. Like, isn't
No,
that
but
is that like a little bit? No, you're hilarious. You're like so natural at what you do
thank
as
you.
well. Like, I feel like some people they have to like rehearse it for you. It just feels like watching you. It's like a natural thing. Like you've always been funny and authentic and stuff. So
Thank
that's a
you.
blessing. That's amazing.
Thank you, thank you. I'm a big goofball at heart for sure.
Yeah. Do you know that you are as or does it like do you know that you're big or that you say you're small, but no, you're huge. Do you know that you impact a lot of people, that you influence a lot of people?
Um, I do. In the beginning, it was still hard to like understand, and when I started getting recognized out in public, that's when it started to hit me. Like, wait a minute, what is going on here? Like, and um, just kind of talking with people, and then them telling me their stories. Like, man, I was going through such a hard time, and watching your videos really made me laugh and stuff. And I was like, wow, that's what fills me up. But I still feel like it's just me. Like I'm just a girl from the no, I'm not Jenny from the block, but
You're
girl from
kidding me.
South Florida who just likes to make people laugh. And I've always
Right.
loved just making just entertaining people. I love singing, I love dancing, I love acting. So I didn't know that I could also make people laugh until 2020. So I guess I've always considered myself just a big old goofball, not necessarily like a comedian. Just making people laugh. I love it.
Yeah, and that's literally what I was gonna say. Like that's probably when you realized that you were growing as a comedian, an influencer, was when people were started recognizing you.
Yeah,
So did you always yeah, but yeah. So did you always like dream of being a comedian? Was that your goal, or you were just really posting on TikTok, just having a good time?
I was just having a good time, pretty much. I've always, since I was a little kid, I've always been again, I worked with producers back in the day. In high school, I was in musical theater. I did performances, productions, and I've always loved that the entertainment industry. But I never in a million years thought that I could be doing that and also making people laugh and also changing their lives or impacting them in such a way through social media. And it was amazing. I was like, I never in a million years thought that I could do something that I really, really love while also helping other people. And it's been awesome. It really has.
Yeah, yes, I love it, and I love that for you and for everyone who's like impacted, including myself, by what you do. It's like a sigh of relief, you know, when you're watching your work. It's just like, ah, okay, you know, like it's hilarious. Yeah, I just it's a gift, honestly. I couldn't authentically. I mean, probably with a script, I can get in front of a camera and like I guess read the script and make someone laugh. I guess, but for it to just happen so naturally, it's and you can see it as like as a viewer and a follower, you know, of your work. You can actually like see when someone is like trying. You're like, yeah, that's not even that funny. But like versus like you just it's just so connecting. So the stuff that you do is relatable. That's what I'm saying. It's so relatable.
Yeah. Yeah, I try sometimes. We have that, what's that called, that imposter syndrome. So I'm like, are people really, like, am I really impacting people? Am I really, you know helping them? And sometimes, like, I doubt myself, but I'm like, okay, you know what, just be you. That's all you can really do at the end of the day.
Yeah.
because that's the more authentic you are, the more relatable, the easier it is. So sometimes trying too hard is just it's not gonna work, and yeah, so I'm like, okay, all I could do is just be myself. So I can't do anything else. I can't think or overthink and, oh, what if I come off as fake, or what if people are not gonna like me? I mean, there's always gonna be people that like you, don't like you, or they're just not. Um, yeah, it's just like just being yourself. It's the way to go, and it's hard at times, but people like that. They can relate to that. So I try to do
You
that as much
can.
as possible. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. I love that. I love that. I love that's your like your focus and that's your mindset. That
Yeah.
that's really good. I love that.
Yeah.
And so, how do you prepare? Like, what's your process before filming?
I have many different ways. Sometimes literally it could pop off in the top of my head. I'm like, oh my god, that sounds really great to do. Okay, let me get on the camera. I mean, obviously, if I'm like at work, I'll write it down, and I'm like, okay, I
Mhm.
have this idea. I'm gonna go back once I go back home, or I do, I'm out somewhere. I'll write it down, and I'll come back home and I'll record it. But sometimes I do prepare for certain skits if I have an idea, or I have also certain characters that like I've created, and I'm like, okay, maybe this would be funny for this character, or maybe. So it's just pretty much writing down a lot of stuff and any ideas that pop in my head. That will happen. For example, I was actually at like a brunch, but it was kind of like a nightclub brunch. I don't know if that's happening. Like, yeah, that's been popping out, like everywhere. So we were at a brunch, and I had this like long, like it was a wig where it connects to your bun, and it just falls like a I don't know, like a ponytail.
Yes,
So
I know
then
exactly what you mean. Yeah.
so then my friend, well, her and I, we were dancing, and she goes, girl, flip your hair, and I was like, ah. So it was like my first time wearing it, and I flipped it so hard that it actually came off and landed on someone else's table. So
Oh my goodness.
yeah, it was like, and we were all like, oh my god. You know what my first reaction was with my friend? We're like, we have to do that again, but this time we have to catch it in camera. Like on
Right.
video. We had to do a video. So we literally did, yeah. And these two girls came up to me. They're like, "Girl, it's okay. Don't worry. Nobody saw. Don't be like." I think they were trying to help me not be embarrassed. I was like, "You don't know. Like these are things that I want to happen in my life. You know, so I can create
Yes.
content."
That's fucking great. I love when it just happens. You're like, oh,
Yeah,
this is good. Let's do that again on camera.
yeah.
Oh my
No,
goodness.
it was embarrassing, but it was great, and it actually, and it went viral. So that was good for me.
I love it. I love. And actually, my mom had the same one, but she had a bun instead of a ponytail. It was just like a little bun that she would clip to
Uh
the
huh.
back. And the story is that when I was younger, I was she had me on her hip or something, and I just like knocked it off in church, just in her, it just and that's like top tier
Like,
embarrassment, I guess, in church. That is awesome.
like,
That is
once it
awesome.
happens, other people around there are like,
Right? They're
never.
like. Exactly. It's amazing. Good times. But that is hilarious. What is your favorite character to play or to
Oh
do?
man.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do a lot of tiny hand content, with a little tiny
Yes,
hands.
which is
So I
hilarious.
love doing anything with the tiny hands. But Baco has my heart. Baco
Yeah.
is this Latin flavor lover who does landscaping, and he has a
Uh,
mustache, and he's just amazing.
yes.
I love
I
it.
love
I love
it.
doing it. Yeah. He has a thick accent. It's awesome.
I know exactly. Your facial expressions is what gets me, and so like I know that character's facial. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I know. It's awesome. I love it. I just sometimes wish I had my short hair back, because it worked perfectly and it was like all curly. So
Mhm.
it just looked perfect with the mustache. Now I got to get a wig for it, and it's great. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. And what's your inspiration? Like, do you have like other people that you follow, maybe like a family member or whoever? Just where do you get like your inspiration from for your work?
Um. Well, for TikTok and when I started doing videos, I did see a lot of creators that were again doing kind of like the similar things, the facial expressions, comedy, lip sync, like different things. But the one that really stands out for me is she goes by Call Me Chris. I don't know if you know her. She has like, well, before she had blonde hair. Now she went red, and
Hmm.
she's absolutely amazing. She's got a, she. I remember when she first started out with like less than 1 million followers, and now she's one of the biggest content creators on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram, and she's so funny. I think she's so talented as well. So that's what actually got me started with buying tiny hands. I never expected to do any videos with it, but I was like, that thing is funny. Like I need to buy me some tiny hands and just play with them. It's 2020. COVID is going on strong. All we did was, stay at home. So
Right.
so once I did, she really, really inspired me to do that. And man, I look up to a lot of other comedians, not only on social media, but like Robin Williams is one of my favorite comedians.
Mm.
I love Adam Sandler, Will Ferrell. I'm a big SNL lover, so that's another inspiration of mine. So I love improv comedy, sketch comedy. It's cool.
Do you know? I'm sure you do. Mad TV.
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh my gosh, I wanted to come back so bad. Like Stuart.
Yes, yes. Stuart, Stuart's mom. Oh my
No,
goodness, yes.
I
There's
don't
right, right. I love this. So, with everything, you have so much going on. You're this the businesswoman. Where does your support come from managing everything?
wanna. Oh man, it's been tough because a lot of people, well, especially in the beginning when social media has been around for a very long time, especially with YouTube and
Right.
everything, and I think it just um exploded with COVID, right? And people started
Mhm.
understanding um what it is to become an influencer, what it is to become a content creator. But in the beginning, when I first started, a lot of people saw it as like, oh, this is a great hobby for you. And I even thought about it, like saying, like, oh, yeah, yeah, this is great. Like, I love, this is a hobby and stuff. When I started getting approached by brands and doing campaigns, that's when I started to get more of a business mindset about it. And I was like, wow, no, people actually really do this as their
Right.
business for their job. And I started doing my research, and I that's when I was like, you know what, I really want to dedicate this. I love what I do. This is something that I've always dreamed about doing. Never thought that I would be able to do it. Now there is a way where I could still do something that I love and also make money out of it. And
Yeah.
yeah, in the beginning it was very hard for people to understand that. Even like my family, they're like, well, I just don't know how it works. Not necessarily that they weren't supportive, it just they didn't understand it, right? So once
Right.
I started, working with this brand and getting all these, these other deals, and they're like, wait, okay, like, oh, that's awesome, like I didn't know, tell me more. And then that's when they were like, oh no, that's awesome, you're actually a content creator. So um and even my husband too, and in the beginning it was hard for him to understand it, and now it's like, oh yeah, so well, tell me a little bit more about that brand deal, what's going on with this contract, and blah blah blah, 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 so um
Right.
so it's great to have that support system. And from the beginning, I have had a few people that were like, no girl, this is what you need to be doing, like you got this. And but my family, my friends, the majority, yeah, they're so supportive. The people that matter to me is they're super supportive. Sorry if you hear my dogs in the background. They're
No, you're
barking
good.
my head off. Uh, um,
I love it.
but yeah, they're really really supportive, and I'm very thankful for that because it has helped me to grow. It has helped me to believe in myself and know that yeah, this is my career. This is part of my career, and I love
Yeah,
it.
I love that. It's like one of those like comfort things, big hug. It's so comfy. It's cozy. I
Yeah.
love that though. I love that you have the support there. Right. I love it. I love it. It's like everything that I do or I want to do is it's surrounding around like choosing yourself and putting yourself first in some capacity so that you can give it back to others in that way. So how do you give back to yourself? Like, what's your practice? And just taking time for yourself and away from the camera. That.
Yeah, no, I mean, you got it on the money. For me, is reminding myself that you have to put yourself first, because without
Hmm.
that, you can't. Um, the love isn't going to be the same for someone else, or the love about the passion that you put into your work. It's just not all going to be there. So you have to take time for yourself, and actually, it's just pretty much talking to myself. Like I think that that's what helps me the most is getting up in the morning. Like, okay, what am I gonna do different today that I didn't like about yesterday to change it? What can I do better? How can I be better? It's asking yourself those questions, and I mean, and even I'm not a man. I have so many journals that start with one page and then the rest is all blank. I'm not a person that writes, but I know that that helps a lot of people too. Is writing your
Yeah.
thoughts, is writing what do you want in life, and seeing your goals and or writing them down. But it's asking yourself those questions for me is that's very very important. I'm also a person of faith, and
Hmm.
I'm that helps me out a lot as well as is just trying to be as positive as I can. And what is harder is I want to say maybe being positive when things aren't going right. And that's when I kind of go on full armor mode where I'm like, okay, no, I need to get my head right. Is having those positive thoughts and taking those negative things that sometimes we always tend to go to the negative thoughts is always changing them with a positive one. And I try to do that as often because sometimes things are hard or I mean life is life. It's gonna happen. Things are gonna get tough, so it's just switching that mindset is always having that positive mindset no matter what, for yourself, for your career, and then for your family, for your friends, for everything else that you can put that love on. Yeah.
I love that because I do the same thing with. I always said that you can find it's always good in the bad and bad in the good, and you can always find something. And so if something it just seems like it's going completely wrong, I try to find that little streak of like goodness, and I'm like, okay, I'm jumping on this because everything else is crazy. Yeah, so I
Yes,
love
you
that.
have to. You have to, and maybe that seeing other people also going through really really hard times where you're like, dang, I'm not even close to what they're going through, and just kind of putting yourself in their shoes too. It kind of gives you that sense of, oh man, maybe my heart isn't, maybe my life isn't that hard. So it just kind of, I don't know, it helps. Oh my god, I can't think of the word, but um, it just not that it humbles you, but it just I can't think of the word. It just kind of
Like it
brings you
definitely
into the
centers you.
in what?
I was saying like, does it like center you, like kind of like brings you back in, while you're like, oh my
Yeah,
god, and then like it's just, yeah.
exactly. It kind of grounds you, I guess like a sense of selflessness. you know,
Hmm.
that if you there's so many people out there that are struggling and they're not even close to what your struggles are, and you're like, dang, you know. So that, and just like knowing that things will always get better no matter what, even if it might take a little bit, it might take some time, but every day you wake up, so you have also the choice to change that by your, even if you can't change the outcome at that moment, you can change it by the way you think, you know, with your mindset. So
Exactly, and how you
yeah.
respond to it. Like when things are happening, I said you can't control life doing life's things. Life is just life, and you just let life. But how you
Exactly.
manage it is how you respond, and so like that makes the world of a difference. So
This, yes, for sure.
definitely, and so how do you know that the path that what you're doing right now is for you? How do you know?
I feel it in my bones.
Yeah.
I feel the vibrations in my bones, in my body. When I
Right.
put on those tiny hands, I just, you know,
I'm home. Yes.
no, because it just, when it's the same thing kind of when I was younger and I used to go to class, and my first class always, like in high school, the majority of all of my 4 years in high school, I remember my first class always being musical theater. It was my first period. So I loved getting up in the morning and, you know, being ready. I'm like, okay, I got my first class is musical theater. Like, I love it. It was acting, or, you know, I was always prepared. Then second period hit and it was like, I don't know, math. And I was like, all I want to do is go home. You know, when oh, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to do this. Like,
Yes.
my first period is done. You know, that's all I want to experience. I don't want to learn about geography or math. You know, it was, so I could, you know, from the beginning, I just didn't. I just had such a passion for it, and then doing this now, I still have such passion for it, and I want to continue to do it. I mean, I don't know. It's just a feeling. I love doing what I do, and hopefully that, you know, I can show that through my videos with people too. And, you know, kind of what we were talking about earlier is just like being relatable and being vulnerable. Like, I don't know. I just being myself. Um, you know, it just, I don't know. It kind of helps. Just, you know, making sure
No,
that I
yeah,
like, yeah, like not to forget that, like, this is my passion, this is what I love. Sometimes it can get a little hectic, but no matter what, like, it's still going to be my passion.
yeah. It's like this overwhelming feeling of on that right path of I can't even answer my own question, but it's like how do I know what you're saying because how do you know that you're on the right path? It's just everything just seems like it's working. Everything is just kind of like in flow. You're not going against the grain, is what I'm saying. You don't feel like oh I guess I got to get up and do this video or whatever. You know.
Yeah, yeah. And not saying that sometimes it does get like that, like, oh, I don't feel like doing it and stuff. But always coming back and always seeing my final production, or once I'm done with a video, like, I'll go back and I'll look at it. And that's another thing too, like, I'm a perfectionist, so I'm making sure that everything is good to go. I'm always very proud of it, you know, after I'm done. The majority of the time, sometimes I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have posted that, I'm so stupid. But, you know, the majority of the
Right.
times I'm just very proud of what I do. And
Right.
yeah, it's just different, you know. And I am working as well. Like, I do have a part-time job. I like working there, but it's not the same passion that I have for this. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That gets you that fire. It's that I know what you mean. Right. It's in the bones. You feel it. And do you think your life would be different if you were doing something else like this? Let's say, would things be different for you personally, internally, whatever, if you were doing something different, or would it just be exactly the same as it is?
No, probably. Oh man, I I'm so thankful. I am so
Mhm.
thankful for how everything happened. And I mean, although COVID was such a hard time for many, many people, for me it was a bittersweet time because that's when I feel like my life changed um, for the better, and I don't regret it. Like I love every second of what has happened, and I'm just so thankful that it happened the way it did. Because I don't
Yeah.
know, I think if I never would have been on social media, it would have never happened. And I knew that that could happen for me. I would be so sad right now. I'd be like, oh no, I want to go back to like, no, I want this to happen for me, you
Yeah.
know? So, but I mean, I think I'd still be the same person. You know, I've always been pretty positive. Always trying to see the bright side of things. So I think that would be the same. Um, but I don't know. I think I would. I don't know. It would be very sad if I've never
Yeah.
had the
It would
opportunity
be very sad.
to do videos. yeah.
Right, right. Oh my goodness. I feel that. I feel that. That's like, I think the same for me. You know, I think it would be different if I was doing something else. I couldn't imagine doing something else than this, because like this is my passion here, just connecting and talking and bringing about like a better understanding to a topic. And so I think this is like what I love. But then I also have a job too. I have a well, it's not part time. It's full time. But
And and have a full time. Yeah.
right, yeah. No, but you were on, or you started, and I don't know. I'm sure you're still on this amazing journey, this transformation, and you shared it with all of us. That's one thing I was like, oh my goodness, like that had to be like a really like deep decision and stuff, because social media can be, it's flip floppity. It's like one
Yeah.
time they're supportive, the next time they're not and stuff, and you have this really large following, and so why did you why now, like why the transformation or the journey?
So
Why?
yeah, since I was a little girl, I was always a big boned girl, you know, I was always big. And there was a struggle with me and food. It's always been there, you know. And then there's like, you know, more to that story. But once I got older, it got harder for me to, you know, just like having like that relationship with food. It just wasn't the greatest or the healthiest. And I've always thought of like, oh, maybe I can get surgery in one day, maybe this, that. I don't know. I mean, for years I would say that, years, 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 and then when COVID hit, we were all home, and I gained so much weight, and it came to a point where I was struggling with a lot of stuff. You know, I was in a very, very unhealthy weight. Um, and again, not necessarily about my looks or what I was in the outside. I was um pretty confident. You know, my self esteem was good, but it was keeping me from doing a lot of things that I loved. You know, it was harder to walk. It was harder to sit on in chairs. It was harder to go to a stadium and try to fit in their little, you know, the little chairs. It's just I now that I had the chance to travel, well, more now with being in on social media, and I saw a lot of content creators that would travel and collaborate and do all these things. Um, I it was keeping me from doing a lot of that, you know. And I want to say last year I kind of felt fed up where I was like, I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I'm not healthy, and there needs to be a change. That I need to do something. So I did work with this surgeon. He's in South Florida, and I decided to do it. I'm like there needed to be some change in my life if I wanted to continue to do social media, if I wanted to change my life for the better. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, I think I think everything happens for a reason, and maybe also starting social media is what also gave me more of that confidence to do the surgery because I wanted to continue to do this. So yeah, in February of this year, early February, I got the gastric sleeve surgery, and it has that's another I guess way where my life has changed for the better.
I love.
I feel so much better. I have so much more energy. I'm definitely healthier. I've lost about 120 pounds, so that's insane. Yeah,
I
yesterday was
love it.
yeah, it's crazy. I'm about like 10 months in with my gastric sleeve, and I don't regret it whatsoever. Yeah, this is something that I definitely needed. It was, and again, it's not something that I know it's going to change my life, or I mean, it changed my life, but it's not going to fix the problem. But it's a tool to
Mhm.
help me, and that's what it's
Right.
really pretty much has been doing, and it's been amazing. It is very, very hard to share on social media. I was going back and forth, thinking like if this is something that do I want to be this vulnerable? And yes, I do, because there is a lot of people out there who have reached out to me and who have decided to do it because of my experiences, and they've told me like, oh my gosh, if it wasn't for you, I don't think I've ever would have done it. So, I'm very thankful for that also. And again, I know a lot of people, I mean, I still also get sometimes hate, or some people saying like, oh, why'd you do that, or oh, that's the worst thing, whatever. Everybody's gonna have something to say no matter what. Oh, okay, yeah, I was like, hello.
Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, she's gonna click out. She's gonna click out. Oh my goodness. But I
No,
did
no, no,
hear.
no. It
Yeah, yeah. I did hear that that people have done this because first of all, you were going to say something about yesterday. Something happened yesterday. You're like
Okay.
yesterday.
Lost my train of thought.
You're fine. It's
I
okay.
lost my train of thought.
Yeah. No, it's fine. No, you're good.
I'm
Um.
sorry. Oh man. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. That yesterday I hit my 10 month um
Okay.
uh anniversary of like my getting my surgery done. So
Well,
yeah.
congratulations on that. I'm sure, like that.
Thanks, thanks.
Has it been a rough? Has it been like not rough, but has it been like But you say it was a good transformation. Has it been like a daunting journey, or has it just been all good vibes and positivity?
The majority of it has been very, very good. And there have been times where it's been hard, because there's certain things that I can't eat like I used to. So I get sick. Yeah. So it will get you sick. Actually, the other day I did. I wanted to have some beef stew with rice, because how else are you going to eat beef stew? You got to have it with rice. That's how I see it. But
Right.
but I can't have rice. I can't. I can't eat it. So I was like, you know what? It's been some time. Let me try a little bit. I literally tried just maybe like two spoonfuls, and I got super sick off of it. And it feels like you're so bloated that you ate so much. So the only thing I could do is just walk it off. So I'm like going back and forth, like trying to walk it off, because it just feels. So those are like the things that some minor setbacks that I'm like, oh man, this sucks. But I take that anyway compared to how I used to feel. And again, I know now what are things that I cannot eat, and things that will um that I can, so I just have to kind of balance that out. There were also some issues with like my I do also take some medicine for my thyroid, and I take medicine for I had high blood pressure, and it kind of runs in the family. So it's just I was taking like a lot of pills for that. I was able to cut back a lot of it. So because I was taking such a high dose, it was making me sick, where
Mhm.
I felt super dizzy. I felt like I wanted to pass out because it was very high. So I had to dose down slowly, And then, but that was like mostly in the beginning. So now it's so much better. I'm not taking as many medications as before. All of my blood work is great. So just those little minor setbacks. But other than that, I feel great. I feel so good. So
Well, that is
it's
amazing.
been a great change.
And that was actually my follow up question. Like, how has this changed your life? And but it's been for the positive. It's been good. And that's I guess that was one of my questions. Like, instead of asking was it daunting or positive, like what have you like experienced since the surgery? And but you shared it with us. But that is wild. Like the rice thing.
It is. It's insane. It really is. But I think for me is the little mini wins. Um, Meaning before I couldn't put on my shoes. I couldn't even tie my shoes.
Yeah.
Um, so those are things where I can actually bend down and do that with ease.
Right. Right.
The same thing again is just sitting on a chair. Sometimes sitting on a plastic chair for me was nightmare. Like I was like, I can't sit on that. I'm gonna break it. Or, it was just like if I sat on it, I had to like carefully sit and be in a weird position. Now it's so much easier for me to do that. I think it's for me is the small wins that a lot of people do not see. That a lot of people or back in the day like take for granted, and then they don't see the struggles that putting on weight or people that are just bigger, like that they struggle with, I think those are my biggest things. Because I mean the weight, I know that I mean losing weight is great, fitting in clothes is great, but I think feeling that sense of, you know what, I don't have to struggle to get in a chair, or I'm not winded when I go on a walk in the park. Those for me are my biggest accomplishments for me.
Right. And I love that. I love that you're just like the truest expression of self and becoming more and more of you, the you that you see, the you that you know. And I love that we're living in our
Yeah,
truth, I say we a lot, but you're living in your truth.
yeah,
I really love that.
yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
And
thank
you're
you.
so vulnerable. Oh, you're welcome, of course. And you're so vulnerable. Do you know this book called Daring Greatly by Dr. Brene Brown?
I don't.
No, she talks about like one of the toughest things humans will ever do, well, they will actually not do, is be vulnerable. But how vulnerability brings about so much change, but so much out of us that we didn't even know we had, and how it inspires and just the people around us and everything. And so, you just being vulnerable, like off the whim, is a strength that not many people have. Like, and according to the doctor, like a lot of humans will rather not be vulnerable at all because it's like people think it's like a sign of weakness or I'm letting you know too much about me and stuff. And but I love it. I love it. And I actually saw you post something recently. It was like a before and after picture, and I'm like, I just love her so much. Like everything, her energy, her vibe. I just love it.
Yeah.
I love
Thank
it.
you. That means a lot. It is, not necessarily saying that it's easy for me to be vulnerable. I mean, I get scared at times, because I mean, always there's always going to be somebody that's going to say something, or um, what if, another thing too is in the future. What if I start gaining weight and people are gonna be like, oh, well, what happened to her? I mean, things happen in life. You just never know what could happen, but um, I feel like it wouldn't do justice. Like I feel like people need to see what it is that I'm going through to help them out. Like I want them to experience the things that I am experiencing. You know, um, so it's hard, but it's definitely doable. I feel like I need to do it. It's like I'm helping people out, so I, I
You
got
are.
I got to show a little bit of vulnerability.
You are. You definitely are. And I think, I think my mom's always told me, she was like, if you don't use your gift, you're going to lose it. And I don't know if this is like a gift or something, but this is definitely like a blessing. And sharing it with the world is the best thing that you can do for other people who is just waiting for that sign. You're probably the sign for like
Yeah.
thousands of people that's like, okay, I'm gonna go do it, or I'm gonna look into it, get a consultation, or set up an appointment or something. And so you're spearheading, you're
Yeah,
definitely
no, even if,
spearheading like the things, like the what is like the things that stop people from doing something. What is that? Not stereotypes, but yes, yes.
yeah, yeah, no, I get what you're saying exactly. But yeah, even if it's just changing one person, even if they one person sees my video, it's just and then that did it for them, that helped them out. Like I'll be happy with that too. So
Yes.
yeah. But I get what you're saying too. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
The word was stigma. Like you're spearheading the stigma
Yes,
around the thing. Yeah.
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
So what is next for you? Like what is things that we can look forward to, or you're looking forward to? What's coming up next?
Yeah, I oh man, I still want to continue doing, social media, doing my videos. I started doing improv classes, and I would love to continue doing something with that. Maybe getting more into filming or TV or just performing on stage, because I miss it. I love it. It scares the bejesus out of me. It scares me to my core because it's very different to be in your room on a video and then posting about it where like there's actual like live people looking at you. It's a whole different ball game. So but I want to get back to that because that's what I used to do years ago. So if I can get back to that, that would be amazing. So hopefully in the future I'll be doing more of that. Social
Yeah.
media will continue, and yeah, whatever else I don't know the the world has for me, I will take it.
Right, right, right. Do you ever see yourself doing like a show like stand up comedy? You ever see yourself doing
Not necessarily stand up. A lot of people have said like, "Why don't you just try it?" Sometimes I'm like, "Yes," sometimes like, "No." But I do see myself doing more of like a sketch, like comedy show.
that?
I would love to do something like that, like on YouTube. And then maybe even doing a podcast. Yeah, you
You have
I don't
it.
know.
You definitely the podcast. You have the skit show is like a no brainer, and but if you don't do that, the
Yeah,
podcast is definitely like a no. Yeah, you got that. The
yeah, I
face,
love that.
your voice, your tone, like yeah, definitely, definitely. So
Yeah, thank you.
what are some life lessons that you take with you? You know that you've learned.
Um, Forgive yourself. There is sometimes where things happen that you hold on to that maybe you hold on to it so much that you don't ever want to do it again, or you just have so many regrets and you just have to let go because life is too short. You gotta continue, just forgive yourself and also love yourself. A lot of things that are keeping you from moving forward or actually um, moving you forward is yourself. So just prioritizing in you, making sure you're again. There's a lot of struggles, but making sure that your mindset um, is positive. Making sure that you forgive yourself, making sure that you just put yourself in first, um, will definitely give you that way to your next goals to be successful in your life. So yeah, pretty much put yourself first.
Put yourself first. And that's like literally what we do here. Like that's like my whole message. And my follow up
Yeah.
question was, what was the advice? But to keep your mindset positive, keep it clear, and put yourself first. That's everything, and everything else after that is just domino effect. It's just everything's just gonna fall in place. So,
That's
well,
right. I love that. Yes, for
yes,
sure.
yes.